Hi, today I want to show you how you can create such a chart on your forms, or even you can create on reports later on from a MySQL database where you already have collected values, and of course you can put an application behind with filters and others to select what you want to show, and even you can control the design of the chart or the form itself. So let's start from the beginning. So I created a database, a simple table, and filled up with data. So here I have a date, um, and this is actually really in a date format, so it's not a string or a text field, but a date field. And I later on will explain why this is important, or why you need to decide what you want to do with the data and how you want to present it. So I have a category here and I have a value, and as you can see, I defined here a series of data for two different categories with values in them. So let's see how the form itself look like. So what you need, of course, to reach the data is the data control elements or data objects, just as I explained it in my previous tutorials. So if you want to access a database, of course, depending on what kind of database you want to access, you can use the data access components which are let's say related to that database itself. So because I was using MariaDB, which is similar like the MySQL databases, I can use the MySQL connector here. So I have this SQL connection object set up. So the setup is of course the usual one. So I have the database name, the host name, the port itself on which the server is let's say communicating with the clients. Then I have the username, password, and the transaction element also linked to the connection itself. So the next one, of course, the transaction object. So this one is again set up with the database, and it's also activated. You can do that once you set up the login information into the database connection. And then the next one is the SQL TSQL query object itself, where of course, because we are just using this SQL query as a read-only query, because we will not change any data inside the database. We will just take the values from the database, and we'll show it on the chart itself. We don't need to define all the queries in it, but we just need to have a select query. So of course the setup again the same. So we need to have the database connection set up, and also the transaction here. So we have the SQL transaction object linked, and then we can start to set up the SQL statement itself. So in the SQL statement, and this is where the important thing is should be mentioned, is that the data date element or column in the SQL database is a date field. So if you don't want to have the chart using the x-axis as a timeline or a time axis, then you need to have data points, and to use the data inside the database as data points, you need to convert a date into date string, or simply just strings, because in this way you can show each individual data points inside the chart with its own value. So you will have 7 values, and these 7 values will be equally distributed over the chart. If you would use date, so maybe one point you entered 1st of January, the next point you entered on the 28th of February, then if you use the timeline timeline value for the, or time value for the x-axis, then the setup of the points or the values related to these date entries would be not really equally distributed, because then the x-axis simply would contain the dates, and 1st of January would be at the beginning of the month, and February at the end of the month. So all these would not look nice, and might create some issues with the how to show the data itself. So this one now, as you can see from the select query, that I have a date string and the related data value from the data the table itself, and here I'm filtering it. So basically from the code, if you would like to show different values and you would like to have a selection, maybe using a combo box and changing the value in the combo box, you could be able to select another data field, and even you can control other things like from which date till which date you want to show the data, and so on. So how many data you want to show backwards, and so on. So you have many options to do this. And of course you should do already here at this point where the select query itself is doing its job and basically taking out those data points what you want to present, because in the chart itself you will not be able to control this. So everything is starting from the data what you want to represent in the chart. So now once we set up the SQL select query, you will have basically the data points. So you will have a value for the x value, and you will have a value for the y let's say axis as well, and then you can start to set up the chart. So here I forgot to mention that of course you need to also have a data source, because of course every data where elements are taking the data source, which is actually linking the element to the SQL query itself. So once this part of the database is set up, we have the values provided for the chart. So now we need to place the chart object itself, and for that you have in Lazarus this chart tab. You can of course implement other reporting objects as well, so you can take other packages and then you can set it up. I was just simply taking the general one. So to basically use the chart, at first you need to put the chart element itself on the form, and as you can see there are many chart objects here. Some of them are actually providing data for the chart. Some of them are already defining what kind of input you can give to the chart. So basically the chart itself is this first element here. So this is what I placed on the form, and depending on how you want to link the data to the chart, you need to select the rest. So for example here, if you select the T list chart source, then I just take one for example. So if you take this one, you can see that the data points are coming from a table editor. So basically this one you can use if you want to programmatically fill up the data into the chart itself. But because I want to use a simple database link, so I already have this SQL setup for the database. I'm using this TDB chart source. So the TDB chart source will take these data controls here, actually the data source itself, and we link this data source to the chart. So let's see how we need to set this up. So as you can see, once you place this element on the form, then you get basically these inputs. So you have or these parameters or properties. So you need to select the data source itself, and here of course, because I set up the data source just with this object, I have only one, so I need to select this one. And now the trick for this chart is important here, that I'm using these two values from the SQL query, the date string, what I set up from the date, and a field y value is actually the data value, which is related to the date string itself. And then of course we need to have a chart source name defined. So basically this will be used by the chart. Then we have here two options, and this is where I need to mention that if you would like to use dates either on the X or in the Y axis, you can use them like a value. So if I would not change the date value itself to the date string, I could be using it as a field X value, just as the data date element. And then if I would use the this DCSO date time X, then the x-axis would be interpreting the values from the X as time values, and then it would be showing each values to the related time. So this is where I mentioned that if you would have different data, for example here as you can see that it's January the 10th, and here I have also February the 10th, so everywhere I put it to the 10th. That would be again more or less equally distributed, of course depending on the number of days, but let's say equally distributed. But if I would have different dates here, not always 10, then this would be closer or let's say farther from each other on the chart. So that's why I was not using this solution. I was changing it to date string, and then I don't need to use here that the X or the Y axis is a date figure. Okay, so with this the data source itself is defined, and the charts are also requiring a chart toolset, otherwise it's not working. So this chart toolset is basically defining a set of tools, and these tools are basically kind of events what the chart can generate. But without this tool set, this will not link these events to the application. As you can see, under this tool set, nothing is currently defined. If you click here and you want to add something to the chart tool set, then you can see that that you can basically use many different things like legend click, header, footer click, and so on. So with this, you can link the application to your chart, and basically you can have an interactive chart via this solution. So if you click on one of these, then you will have actually events also linked to that element. So if you want to have an interactive chart, then you can use this tool set with the relevant tools setup, and then you can create your application based on that. Okay, so the tool set is defined. Let's go to the chart itself, and this is actually a very complex setup. So I might not let's say talk about all the aspects of the chart itself, but actually what is important here is that the how you can define the let's say the minimum set of elements what you want to set up for your chart. So of course, if we take the chart itself, so let's put an empty chart just to show what is at the beginning available. So once you put the chart itself on the form, you don't have anything defined yet. Of course, you have here the axis defined, minor tick marks, and so on. But nothing is linked, so you need to set it up to get all these axes and values right. And if we go to the axis itself, you can see that it's already bringing up that what is the axis. Here you can see again that nothing is defined yet, and this is what we need to set up one by one before the chart will show anything. So let's delete this chart again, and let's go through the elements. So okay, we have the chart, and we have two axes. As you can see, I have the left axis and the bottom axis, and you need to set up, of course, these individual axes. If you click on one of them here, or you click in the object inspector here, the to the right element, then you can start to set up basically that axis. And what we need to do here is to set up which value should be presented. Of course, if you have values what you are presenting, you don't need to set up the source itself, because the values will automatically take this axis elements based on the value. But if you are defining this and take it from the data source, you can already recognize that what is the difference. So basically, with this change, you will not get a range here completely, but you will only get the data values which are representing each value. So here you can see that we have a 70, we have two 80s, a 90, and so on, but we don't have 130, 40, 50, and so on. So those are not appearing. But if I'm changing it back to none, then we have the tick marks evenly distributed, and of course you can see the values around. If I would change one of these maybe to 175, then of course this would move, but it would not show the value itself, just still these ranges would be visible. The style, of course, you can use here different ones. So you can use a label, but we don't have a label here, so we will not get anything. We need to use here the value, otherwise label value, this we can use as well. But let's say, oops, sorry, that was the X value. So with this you can also let's say define what you want to use here. Of course you can also make it invisible or visible. This is very simple, and so on. The other thing what you can define here at the axis is the axis title, and you can see under the axis title I put the values as tones, for example, and also you can define the position, again the visibility, so, and how it should appear, the font type, color of the text, and so on. Also you can define this distance, so if you put a bigger distance, then you can see that it's moving away. Actually, I think it makes sense to test it what you really want, and don't be surprised if something disappearing. It's quite difficult to set this up, so it seems very simple, but sometimes you can get lost why something is not appearing as you expected. Then I would propose maybe to delete the element and set it up from the beginning again, and then you will see that everything goes right. Okay, for the bottom, so again the bottom axis, and here you can see that I had to define here the source, because here I don't want to have, you know, just nothing like this one, and maybe put an X value. I don't have an X value here. Or this one is just, you see, starting from 0 to 1, so we don't have a value for this. Really, we have text here, so we need to use the label, and even the label value, as you can see, not right, so we need to use the label, and we need to select the source, because the source will give the dates. So this this will show the dates at the bottom. The title label is actually pretty much the same. So again, you need to define the caption, the distance, the brush itself, how it should look like, and so on. Oh, something I did not mention at the beginning. So of course you create the chart itself, but you didn't define what should be the chart. So how the chart should look like. So in my case, I was using the line series. So once you set it up, then you can set up the chart like this. So you just click on the chart with the right button, and the edit series will bring up this form, and adding or pressing the add button, you can define the series itself, so how the series should look like. So you can select the different let's say interpretation of the data. Of course these can contain different inputs, but in our case the line series is showing the right one. I'm not sure if I'm using a bar series, how it should look like, but as you can see, I also put here a legend element, and this is already showing these chart series inside. So this is automatically linking the legend to the chart. Of course, you need to give that which chart you want to use, and let's say if we use the chart series, Then we could be able to link this one again to the to the axis data itself, or what should be here. And as you can see, nothing is selected. So if we say that the axis x-axis is the date and the y is the value, and then this should be also presenting the same thing. Maybe the visibility is switched off. No, it's visible. Yeah, I did not link the chart source itself to the series. So this one I did not mention at the line chart. So here I should be also mentioning that the line series itself should be linked to the source. So here the DB chart source is given, so you can see that that it's actually using the same data, and here the labels are also showing the values. So if I'm clicking out this style to none, then we will not have the labels above the values. Of course, this you can do with the line chart as well. So if I'm clicking on the style label, then the label is immediately appearing. Don't ask me why it was jumping to -20, but of course this can be also controlled at the behavior of the tick marks. Okay, so just go back and not using the labels. So if you want to have the line or the chart name itself, or the series name itself into the legend, then you need to specify a title for this series. So at the chart bar series, I need to define here that this is the same actually says of send. So we can name it like this again. So I would say this is the basic setup. The other thing is what you can also see on this chart, that in the line series I also have marks for the data points, and these you can define at the series pointer here, and you need to set up the style itself. So actually I was using this one, and here you can get different values, let's say. So typically this diamond is used, but you can have a rectangle, you can have this triangle, pretty much anything what you want, like this one, hexagon, and so on. And then you can define the color. So the style is defining if it should be a solid, or you can have different brushes used. So if you use this one, you can see that this will be like that. Then you can define different colors, of course, and this color is actually defining the brush color. So if you have such a not solid one, but a pattern one, then this will be just for the small lines. So let's use this one because it's more visible. But of course, if you are not selecting anything, it doesn't matter. But you can also switch this off. So if you say it's invisible, then you can see that it's also disappearing from the legend. If you put it back, then it appears again. And you can define also the horizontal and vertical size of this thing. Okay, so then you can also define how the line or the chart itself should look like. So here you have the line pen, and then you can define if it is a solid or dashed or dotted. So basically you can set up your chart as you want, and you can also do it programmatically. So if you go behind linking or changing the object property from your code, then of course the chart will appear on the same way. And of course, if you are changing the SQL statement, like here I had the send defined, but if I'm going back to the SQL, not here but to the SQL itself, and I have instead of the send, I had the clay. So if I'm changing it to clay, of course, as I said, you can do it programmatically. Then of course I need to rerun the SQL itself, but and now of course it's saying that it's sent because this was a manually typed text, but as you can see that the values are already different, chart is different. So basically what was entered into the database, it's automatically appeared in the chart. Of course, as I said, you can define combo boxes or whatever selectors to change your query, and once you rerun the query, then the chart itself is automatically changing. So this is about how you can create charts for your application right from the using the database you defined. If you would like to have, of course, a completely interactive chart creation, then of course you need to define the right elements which are defining the SQL statement, and of course you need to make sure that you always get data, you always get values for the chart. Otherwise you might have issues to show the data, or maybe even crash your application. So you need to do these kind of things carefully. So that was all for today in this tutorial. I hope you liked it, and if you liked, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And with this, I wish you happy coding, and see you next time. Goodbye.